Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's International Women's Day session. Before we get started, I need to remind you all that today's session is being recorded so that footage can be shared online afterwards. So please can you all remain muted with your cameras off. I'm delighted to be chairing this event in conjunction with West Midlands Combined Authority to celebrate International Women in Engineering Day. I'm Sally Friswell and I'm an Associate Director at Arup. Arup is an independent firm of designers, planners, engineers, architects, consultants and technical specialists working across every aspect of today's built environment. I'm a fire engineer by profession and have 17 years experience working within the construction industry. I'm also actively involved in promoting women working in engineering. The West Midlands Combined Authority, who in response to the Mayor's Manifesto have a focus on supporting women of the West Midlands through a raft of initiatives, but in particular to work with STEM networks, women into construction, women into engineering, and careers and education companies to promote events and experiences. West Midlands Combined Authority are trying to ensure women get the information they need to make informed choices about their careers and jobs, and in particular, those potentially seen as non-stereotypical. West Midlands Combined Authority are also using their funding status to drive providers to provide education and training that enables women to engage more easily. So with that in mind, it seemed appropriate that we join together with others who work in this sector to celebrate International Women in Engineering Day, or INWED. So INWED is an international campaign celebrating the work and achievements of women engineers and those working in roles supporting engineers. The theme for this year's INWED is Engineering Heroes, and today we're going to hear from some of our region's engineering heroes. They will be sharing their career journeys to date, their routes into engineering sectors, and some training opportunities. But first, I'd like to share some statistics with you. Only 12% of engineers in the UK are women, and when you consider the engineering sector as a whole, only 21% of people working in that sector are women. And the statistic that saddens me most is that when you ask children aged 11 to 14 about their career aspirations, only 46% of girls would consider a career in engineering compared to 73% of boys. So hopefully from hearing from our engineering heroes today, it will inspire you to either become an engineer or work within the construction sector. Within the programme today, we unfortunately won't have any time for Q&A. However, if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll take them away. With that, I'd like to introduce our first engineering hero. So Nimra Akhtar, who's actually a graduate engineer in my team at Arup, and she is going to talk about her career so far.
Okay, hi guys. I'm just going to share my screen. Thank you, Sally, for that. Yeah, hopefully you can see that now. So yeah, I recently joined as a graduate fire engineer in Arup in January, just gone. And yeah, so I was just going to sort of talk through my journey to engineering. It's not unusual in any way, really. It's probably the most stereotypical way most people would assume. But yeah, I just thought it'd be good to sort of talk through each stage and hopefully inspire you to get out of your comfort zones as much as possible. So yeah, I didn't really know, or before sixth form, I didn't really think about where I wanted to go. Really, I just knew what I enjoyed. Yeah, engineering wasn't really an option at all. I just knew that I liked my sciences, I liked my maths, and yeah, that's all I knew at that point. But with that, I sort of saw myself gravitating to options that most women of BAME backgrounds choose, which is healthcare related. At the time when I was at sixth form, that was usually like, if you like your biology and your chemistry, then you sort of gravitate towards that industry. And I think for me as well, it was easy to fall into that because, my parents, they migrated here from Pakistan. They were more comfortable assuming a role for me, where women are like typically nurturing and caring because that's the kind of thing the kind of women that they were surrounded with quite a lot. So it just made sense. It was easier for them to sort of push me in that direction as well. But then I did some work experience at a local pharmacy, and I realized, yeah, I didn't really like it. I sort of needed to be in a more active learning environment to sort of keep me stimulated a bit more. So yeah, I was sort of confused for a bit and didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I spoke to a couple of teachers. I spoke to my maths teacher, and she suggested engineering, and I kind of completely dismissed it because I hadn't been exposed to anyone who looked like me and went into engineering. Yeah, I just thought, what's the point of even exploring it? Because I probably most likely won't fit in. So yeah, but then as I got talking, I probably go out on a limb and say my teacher is my engineering hero, even though she herself isn't an engineer. She sort of made me detach myself from typical norms and ideals, and sort of help me come to terms with what I actually enjoy, which is like problem solving and essentially being a detective. And in a roundabout way, that kind of is engineering, you know, trying to navigate through different problems and ending up at a solution that kind of hopefully works for everyone. Um, so yeah, this is kind of the sort of pattern that continues as I sort of go through uni and now in my role in Arup, which is basically to not be afraid to go out of your comfort zone and you know, accept that you don't need to fit into what other people assume you to fit into, and just just enjoy what I do, and hopefully and find it fulfilling as well. So uni, I did chemical engineering. So I chose that. There's loads of different types, but I chose chemical engineering because I thought it would give me the most options after I graduated, because I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. But yeah, I'm glad I did choose it, because it sort of made me realize how much I sort of enjoyed the design process and seeing a process come from start to end, and you know, knowing that I applied what I know, and it's just sort of satisfying to see the end result, that you know, I put a lot of input into that. So yeah, after my third year at university, I secured a placement at Arup in the fire team. Fire doesn't really have a direct link to chemical engineering, but the reason I applied is because I kind of wanted to experience a different type of engineering, to see if I could align my own personal values with it. Yeah, because obviously this is something that I'm going to be doing every day. I want to make sure that I agree with it, and yeah, I can see myself doing it. So then, yeah, I came back as a graduate engineer. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. The main message I'd probably end with is to sort of grab every opportunity and experience you can. It'll give you an idea of what you like and what you don't like. And also don't follow the crowd or be intimidated by another crowd, because it'll only hold you back. So yeah, that's my journey to engineering.
Thanks, Nimra. That's some great advice to finish up with there. We're now actually going to move on to another engineering hero from Arup. So next we have Emily Healy, and she's come into engineering through an apprenticeship route. So Emily, over to you.
Hiya. I'll just share my screen. Oh, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. So yeah, hi, my name's Emily, and I've been an apprentice in the highways team at Arup in the Midlands since August 2017. So I decided that I wanted to be an apprentice as opposed to doing the traditional civil engineering degree route, for a number of reasons. These included the ability to gain hands-on experience whilst working towards a qualification, to understand what a career in civil engineering looks like from a personal level, the ability to apply classroom-based knowledge to an actual working project, and vice versa, with the knowledge gained from work being able to apply in the classroom environment. Also the opportunity to work alongside industry professionals, giving a great insight into what civil engineering industry looks like from within, but also to work with professionals from other disciplines to understand how these all interact with each other to deliver projects, but mostly to be a part of a team that works together to achieve goals, working on projects as they progress from conception through to construction, and to have this team to rely on for support throughout my academic progression. So what drew me to Arup? So after doing some research, I quickly came to the decision that Arup was the company I wanted to work for. They have worked on some of the most exciting projects spanning the whole globe, and are truly a multinational company, which I knew would offer the possibility of potentially working overseas. So the variation in projects they offer gives such a wide range of experiences. In the Midlands alone, we've got so many different teams. Like I work in highways, but there's also, as you've seen, fire and water and bridges. And so I knew that the possibility of different types of work would be really exciting. And for me personally, as a highways apprentice, so far I've worked on a number of projects, including motorway widening schemes and bypass projects, but also advisory work and different types of work. Also, Arup has a really large network of apprentices. When first joining, I attended a 3-day networking event in Manchester with the intake of apprentices from across the whole of the UK. It was a great opportunity to find out more about Arup and meet new people and build connections with these people. There's a great sense of community and belonging throughout Arup, but particularly when joining as an apprentice, I always felt. There's always people that are going through similar things to you, and it's to reach out to, and it's nice to know that that support's always there. So my experience so far. So as previously mentioned, I have had the opportunity to work on such a wide range of projects, and it's allowed me to meet and work with incredible people and gain great industry experience. So far, I've obtained my BTEC in construction in the built environment, as well as an NVQ in civil engineering. And I did both of these at Solihull College. I also was nominated based on my time here by the lecturers for the IC West Midlands Technician of the Year award. So that was a great opportunity, and got to go to the West Midlands annual awards evening, which was really exciting. It was nice to see what was going on in the world of civil engineering outside of Arup throughout the West Midlands. So that was great. Currently working towards my degree in civil engineering, which is being provided by Arup, as well as trying to achieve my status as an incorporated engineer. So that's me. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Emily. I think it's great that you won an award so early in your career. Congratulations for
Thank
that.
you.
I think a lot of women, in my experience, hold back from nominating themselves for some of these awards. So it's great to see that you took that opportunity and you really went for it.
Thank
So well
you.
done. So I'd like to introduce our next hero. So next up, we've got Fiona McGarry from Make UK, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the work they do with women in engineering and some of the work that Make UK do.
Hi, I'm Fiona McGarry. I'm the Engagement Manager at Make UK Apprentice and Skills in Aston. So we're a large training facility based in Aston, offering apprenticeships in manufacturing sector locally and nationally. So we work with large companies such as JLR, Rolls-Royce, Severn Trent, right down to SMEs. And International Women in Engineering Day is really important to us as it highlights the lack of representation in the sector. 12% is not enough, and it's not changing fast. I've been working in manufacturing for nearly 15 years, and that figure has barely moved. In 2016, 9% of all engineers in the UK were women. So we've moved around 3.5% in 15 years, even with all the social media and access to role models and campaigns and days like this. You can't be what you can't see, so we must embrace role models. And the strong misconception of what it means to be an engineer and to work in the sector. The image is very dated and inaccurate, and due to negative representation in the industry held by many, it's prevented talented individuals from choosing engineering as a career. So we've been working here at Make UK to try and address that. We've got this wonderful STEM room here at our centre in Aston, and it's all about exposing and inspiring young people from an early age. So we work with school children from 7 years and above, and we get them to come here. We get them to meet our fantastic apprentices, 2 of which are going to be meeting shortly, and we get them to see all the possibilities within engineering. We do hands-on activities with them. We show them around the centre and we get them to talk to our apprentices. And then hopefully that will then make them consider manufacturing and engineering as a career choice. And even if it makes them switch off from it, at least it's a considered choice, because unfortunately up until now, not every young person even realises the amazing opportunities there are within this career field. So we do a lot of work with schools. We are involved with a number of engineering challenges like F1 in schools, and that's really good at giving young people hands-on experience and exposing them to the different careers that are available. We usually take on around 300 apprentices every year at our centre in Aston, and usually we get around 10, 11% that are female, but we're constantly having to work to achieve that. Unfortunately, last year with the pandemic, it reduced slightly, so we've got less females this year, but we're consciously making an effort now to get companies to be taking on more females this year, because as you'll see when you meet Letitia and Georgina shortly, it's an amazing career for females. We are also looking at Kickstart as an opportunity to get more young females in, because we're hoping through the Kickstart route, they might enter a manufacturing company, spend some time within manufacturing, and that might open their eyes to then pursue an apprenticeship later on. So today, for International Women in Engineering Day, we are sending out a video every hour on the hour, which showcases our fantastic role models here at Aston. So hopefully you'll all be able to see those on the Make UK social media channels, and you'll be able to use them with young people that you're working with or organisations you're working with to inspire them to consider a career with engineering and manufacturing. Because 12% isn't enough. We need to work really hard to address that and ensure that we get more young people considering a career within engineering. So there's a short video now which showcases our centre, manufacturing and amazing apprenticeships, and then I'll pass you on to our apprentices.
This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning.
Wow, that's a very energising video that you've created there, Fiona. Makes me want to become an apprentice. I'll go back to the beginning times.
Yeah, it was targeted for young people, and so
yeah.
we did that's what young people are looking for, so that hopefully it attracts more young people to the sector.
It looks great. So we're now hearing from two of your apprentices, Georgina and Letitia. Going to tell us a bit about what it actually is like being an apprentice with you.
Hello, my name is Georgia and I work for AE Aerospace. I'm a machining apprentice with Make UK, and ever since I was 14, I knew I wanted to do engineering, and luckily I went to a design and technology school, so I had it as an obvious option for GCSE. So I loved learning it at school, and I knew that I wanted to do it as a practical career. So then I was obviously concerned going into a male-dominated environment, obviously being a female, and I would probably be one of the only females to work on the shop floor. But when I got there, like in the workplace, it was great because everyone was really nice and really supportive, and I feel like I've really learned a lot from my mentors and here my teachers at Make UK. I really feel that the friends I've made have become a really good support network and have helped me to progress as an engineer. And I believe I'll be able to take the skills that I've learned here either into the workplace and throughout life, because you learn team skills, you learn like communication skills and all sorts here. While being here, I've done many different sections, which will help me become a well-rounded engineer. I've done turning, milling, CNC, lean, and I'm currently doing bench work. So when I finish that, I'll be doing grinding. And then I'll be coming back next year to do 1 day a week while I'll be at company for the rest of the week. I would seriously consider, encourage all girls to consider engineering as a real possibility for a career, because it is one of the most satisfying jobs that I believe there to be. And you make lifelong friends because they stay with you forever. And all the stuff that you've learned, it doesn't leave you as well. So it really does. It's a really, really good career choice.
Hi, I'm Letitia Jackson. I work at Eton. Sorry guys, I'm a bit nervous. Sorry. Just pause.
That's okay. Just take a breath.
I think
and
it was like Nimra Akhtar? Like she said, she was doing science before she came into engineering, which is what I was also doing. I couldn't really like settle in like my science. I don't know. It just felt like it wasn't for me. Do you know what I mean? And like at that time as well, my dad had also been doing level 3 engineering at his college. So he would come home, he would show me some of the stuff he was doing. He would encourage me to like do some drawings as well. he had like a whole board as well. And yeah, so from that, he was a role model for me for that. And he also encouraged me to look at engineering and consider it as a career choice. So I applied for a lot of engineering opportunities, and it wasn't until I came here, I was accepted here and I came here, that I kind of like, whoa, you know, like I know what I want to do now. Because it's so, you learn a lot, but it's like you take it in, and it's like Georgia said, it's fulfilling. Like you just feel so much better about yourself. You know where you're going in life, and you learn a lot of transferable skills. Like before, I could not put up a flat pack at all. I did not know how to use an Allen key until I came here, and I was like, oh, this is what an Allen key is. And like now I can go home, I can put up my flat packs. I don't need a man for anything. But it's because of Make UK, and I'm glad that they gave me the chance to kind of release my potential, because I did not know that I could do some of the stuff that I do now. It's amazing. So I do encourage a lot of women to join engineering, because you feel like, what's the accomplished? Yeah, accomplished, yeah.
Why do you think International Women's Day is important?
International Women's Day is important because it highlights that just how few women are in engineering. It's quite shocking, given that it's for everyone, but for some reason it's the stereotype that it's for men. It's not. It's for everyone, and anyone can do it. But yeah,
we are quite good at engineering.
We are good at engineering. Women are good at engineering. It's just that needs to be spread more, because it's not something that girls think about naturally. They don't grow up and go, oh, I want to be an engineer. It should be, but girls don't, and I think they really should.
Yeah, because we're the only 2 girls in our class, and sometimes it's not overwhelming, no, with all the boys around us, but you know, we would want there to be more girls, so we can have more girly conversations.
Yeah. But yeah, like Letty, my dad's an engineer. He's a civil engineer and he works for Network Rail. So I've always been around that kind of knowledge and environment as well myself. But I kind of didn't know what sector I wanted to go into. But I did work experience with my dad, and I worked with HS2, and that was really, really interesting. Cool. It was really interesting. So I got to go on site and have a look at all the different site visits. And I even planned my own how to demolish like the buildings on Curzon Street that they had to demolish for the Curzon Street station. Cool. I worked with another girl, and we planned to demolish those buildings as well. That's what I did in that work experience. So that was fun. So yeah, engineering isn't all doing all the dirty work. There's loads of aspects to engineering that you can go into. It's very broad aspect. But But yeah. Don't know.
Thank you both. I think you're both heroes already.
Yeah.
Well done for getting over your nerves, Letty. You spoke really, really well, and it's really great to hear how passionate you both are about
Thank you.
what you're doing, and we absolutely do want more women in engineering. I have no idea what all those machines are you've said you can now use, Georgia. I work in a completely different sector and can't use any of those machines, so it is really a very broad church. But thank you both for sharing your experiences
Thank you. Thank you.
today. And we're now going to move on to Dr. Jennifer Late, who is an associate at Arup in our water business, and is going to tell us a little bit about a completely different aspect of engineering. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you. So yeah, good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can see the slides. And I just thought I'd give you a little tour of some of the work that I get involved in. I think, like others, I maybe slightly knowingly stumbled into engineering. I was good at maths and physics and didn't really know what I wanted to do, and thought engineering was fairly broad, and that sounded quite interesting. My physics and maths teachers were sort of opening my eyes to opportunities in that area. But I think I eventually settled on civil engineering after having taught, probably quite similar to this one, where someone put up a map of sort of the EastEnders map and sort of was pointing out buildings that he had worked on. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Liking EastEnders at the time, that you can see some of the work that you've done. So I knew then that I wanted to do civil engineering, something that would help shape the world around us, something that you could physically see. And then through my degree, I then specialised in water. I went on to do a PhD in water, and specifically around river flows. And I think with all of the climate crisis that we're currently in, it's something that's very topical. And I thought it would be quite interesting just to talk about a couple of the projects I've been involved in, that you might think, actually, I can make a difference in a similar way. So the first one is, I don't know if you know where Birmingham gets its water from, but it gets its water mainly from Wales. It travels through an aqueduct, which is called the Ealing Valley Aqueduct. And recently it's undergone a bit of refurbishment. It's over 100 years old. And at the minute, the water travels from Wales into Birmingham by gravity. So there's no pumping, there's no electrical requirements for that. And what we were doing was we were upgrading different sections of the aqueduct to make it more fit for the future. So we were trying really hard to make sure that we were still able to do that through gravity discharge, so that we didn't have any new electrical or pumping requirements on the aqueduct. And that work, I think, has now been recently completed. So we handed it over to the contractor team who have done the upgrades on those sections. So quite a lot of our work is around water resources. We have a finite amount of water. It's very expensive to treat and get to people's homes. So what else could we do going forward to help manage our water resources more sustainably? And that's really a shout out to everyone, because it's going to be our collective problem. How can we be more water efficient? What can we do as engineers and scientists to make sure that we use this precious commodity well, and so that essentially the end user doesn't really need to think too much about it. How can we build this in going forward? And then another large part of what I do is around enabling infrastructure projects. So when we look around us, we've got roads, we've got railways, we've got buildings, bridges, but water interfaces with all of those, whether it's trying to get it to the taps, whether it's trying to make sure it doesn't flood, whether it's trying to make sure that we're not interfering with the quality of water. That's the sort of work that civil engineers get get involved in. So it's trying to make sure that we develop the world around us in the most sustainable way that we can. So this is a bit of a shout out to all the women and also men out there who are considering a career in infrastructure or the built environment. Is we have these sustainable development goals. We know that our climate is changing, and as engineers, and in my case, civil engineers, we have a real opportunity to make a step change in our environment to make sure that it is fit for the future. And I think that's a really exciting opportunity for people to get involved in, to see how you can shape the world so that you can then, look around, tell your friends, family, I've done this, I've made a difference here. So I hope that that's been of interest to everyone. If you have any questions, please do pop them in the chat. There's so many opportunities in engineering. You've heard from some really inspiring speakers, and there's some more to follow. So thank you.
Thanks, Jenny, for reminding us that as engineers, we have that ability to influence sustainability very, very strongly, perhaps more so than if we go out campaigning for different things. So something for us all to think about there. So I'd like to introduce our next engineering hero, who is Rosa Wells. She's an Executive Director for Employment and Skills at the Institute of Technology, and she's going to be telling us a bit about some of the training they have to offer. Hi, Rosa.
Thank you, Sally. I'm just hoping that my screen will share. I think it's just whirring at the moment, so I'll start as that, see if that comes through shortly. So yeah, my name's Rosa Wells. I am Executive Director for Employment and Skills at Great Birmingham and Solihull Institute of Technology. So I am an engineer, so I thought I'd just briefly start by talking a little bit about how I got into where I am now from being an engineer. So after I did A levels, and I wanted to be an engineer, but I just found at school at the time I couldn't get the information that I felt I needed to make an informed decision about what to do in engineering. So rather than go straight to university and just pick a course, I thought I would try and get into industry first. So I was really lucky. I was really interested in the aerospace industry and just fascinated by aircraft and how they work, and really wanted to understand more. I'd taken a lot of things apart growing up, but I hadn't quite got my hands on an aircraft. So that was where that led me. So I was really lucky. I got taken on by a company called Lucas Aerospace. They are now part of the Rolls-Royce Aerospace group. And they took me on in their manufacturing department for a year as a sort of, they called it a pre-university trial to see if I would fit in the company and see if they would support me through my degree, which they did. So I was really lucky. They then sponsored me through my degree studies. I was able to take up a full-time place at university, which I was really keen to sort of have an opportunity to do, but I was employed throughout by Lucas Aerospace. So I would go back every summer and be given a new project to take on in the manufacturing department. And that just, really gave me the opportunity to try lots of different things. And they supported me, obviously through my degree studies, and also helped me do some work in France and have a look at what goes on over there in the aerospace sector. So, I really enjoyed my time at Lucas Aerospace. I really enjoyed my studies. And what I became really passionate about was about engineering education. And I think that initial sort of frustration that I couldn't get the advice that I felt would be useful for me to make an informed decision really drove me into looking at how I could support young people to make more informed, better decisions, and to be able to get the advice that they want. And always looking at how to improve the diversity in engineering and how to increase the number of women. I started studying far too many years ago now, but we haven't seen the progression. We haven't seen the increase. The number of women in engineering hasn't grown at the pace that I was hoping to see. So I now obviously work at Solihull College. I work with our engineering team, and I work across the region with all of our colleges and universities to establish our new Institute of Technology. We're in our second year of operation, so I'll just talk to you a little bit about what we're trying to do to help engineering and look at how we can increase the number of women in engineering. So this is where our Institute of Technology came from. This is an Institute of Technology have only been around for a couple of years, and there's 12 across the country. And our Institute of Technology focuses on advanced manufacturing and engineering, which is obviously a key sector for the West Midlands and for Birmingham and Solihull. And what we looked at, we came together, all of the colleges and universities across the region, to have a look at what some of the issues were, why were we seeing these skill shortages, why are engineering firms struggling to recruit, and why aren't we seeing an increase in the number of women in engineering? What is it about engineering that is not attractive to women, or what are the barriers to coming into such an interesting and exciting career? So one of the issues that we looked at is what's coming down the line, and I know people have talked about sustainability, and that's really important and really crucial part of engineering. And the other aspect is about what we call the fourth industrial revolution. So this increased automation and digitization. So there's lots of people working in engineering who need upskilling or retraining in some of the new technologies, and there's lots of exciting opportunities for young people coming through into engineering in this space in terms of robotics, AI, and looking at how we digitize engineering. And there's a lot of demand for these sorts of skills. So we were hearing from lots of employers that they need to recruit more engineers, and we didn't think that message was getting out to young people or adults across the region who are looking at maybe retraining or looking at different options for careers. So what we want to do with our Institute of Technology is make sure that we provide one place where schools, careers, parents, young people, engineers, companies can come to, and we can direct them towards opportunities for development, for learning, for training. So that's what we're trying to do with our Institute of Technology. So this is what we're all about. So as I mentioned, we work with all of the colleges and universities across the region. So we've got 3 colleges and 4 universities, and we're working together to support employers and to support our young people to understand more about engineering and what opportunities are available for them. So for example, today for International Women Engineering Day, both Aston University and Birmingham City University are working with a network of schools across the region. They've sent some kits out for them to work on today, and they're supporting them with some additional webinars addition to this to really get the message out there, and looking at which schools to work with, which individuals to work with, to really raise aspirations and support young people to think about what's possible. I think that's what people have been saying this morning. What could I do? Sometimes breaking out that mold and doing something different, and finding out something about a different career. And so we work with a lot of regional stakeholders to inform what we're trying to do, and to get the message out as well. That's really important to us. What we want to do is build on what's already here and raise the profile and raise the voice of engineers so that everybody can hear about how wonderful it is to be an engineer. I think whenever you hear engineers talking about their job roles, you always think, oh, I wish, I did aerospace, but I'd love to have done a bit of civils, or, really excited about how HS2 might work, or what's sustainability development to happening. So I think you really do generate that enthusiasm, and I think it's one of those careers that people don't quite understand what's involved. So by pushing the message out through our region, we can reach more people, and we can raise the profile and make engineering a really exciting option for young people. And we're built on, we build everything that we do, all of our ideas are all based around our employer network. We're supported by a wide range of employers across the region. We've been supported with funding to improve the equipment that's available for young people, learning on apprenticeships and part-time study, and in our full-time programs through our colleges. So we've got lots of new investment coming in, so everything is absolutely fit for purpose for the training that we need to give. And we're supported by some brilliant employers across the region. So Worcester Bosch, key employer in Worcester, really important and really supports what we're trying to do. Salts Healthcare and Hydroforce, both based in Aston, looking at sort of hydraulics manufacturing and healthcare manufacturing. Alucast, our casting company in the Black Country. Bannock manufacture robotics equipment, and Continental Engineering Services support the automotive sector. So what they do is they design a lot of the technologies that are going into cars that are owned by JLR, so and other companies. So they would design the technology needed to convert a traditional car into a hybrid or electric vehicle. So they're always thinking about cutting edge technologies and what's coming next. It's always really exciting to hear what they're up to. So we're really well supported, really well informed by our employer group, and we have a wider network of employers that also inform our development. But these are our key employers that come and work with us every month to tell us what we're doing right and what we need to improve. Oh, sorry about that. Let me just move on. So we're just in the process. So we have been in operation for 2 years, our second year of being an Institute of Technology, but we are in the process of building on the Aston campus a hub, so that everybody has one place to come and talk to us about what they want to do, whether you're a parent, a young person, a careers advisor, an employer. And in that hub, we will have a learning factory as well. So we'll be supporting all of our engineering learners across all of the college groups and university students to come to one place to find out about this fourth industrial revolution and this learning factory, and also there to provide advice and guidance on what's available, support young people to make an informed decision about what they want to do with their careers and how they want to develop. So, as I mentioned earlier, we seek not to duplicate, not to replicate things that other people are doing. There's some brilliant organisations out there all doing wonderful things in this space. So what we want to do is signpost. We want to link people up with the most suitable training route, education route, and also link with organisations that are helping young people to find out what it is that engineering is about. So brilliant organisations with lots of great schemes available for young people. So if you do want to find out more, you can have a look at our website. You can talk to me on my email, and we will link people up with the most appropriate organisation, whether it's a question about training opportunities, whether it's something for young people to help inspire them to think about engineering. We're really trying to bring everything together to support a more coherent network of information for everyone, from young people at primary school through to employers and CEOs. So thank you for listening this morning.
Thank you, Rosa. It's great to see that there's so many different routes into engineering, and you're there to help kind of guide people through the processes. And there's so many different opportunities here in the West Midlands. So whatever your interests are, there is something for you within engineering and manufacturing. So now to move on to our next engineering hero. So next up, we've got Anne-Marie Nolan, who's a manager. And she came into engineering through a degree apprenticeship route. So she's going to tell us a little bit about her apprenticeship and how it has supported her career progression to date.
Thanks, Sally. Hi, everyone. My name's Anne-Marie Nolan. I work for a large American corporation called Parker Hannifin, and they actually have a site in Warwick, so you may have heard of us before. My story goes back to many years ago. At the age of 21, I started working for a sealing company. So, them really boring O-rings that, goes into absolutely everything. I started working in customer service there, moved on to sales. And as I got further into my sales career, I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to find out what these products actually do, how these products actually work, what this tiny little bit of boring rubber actually goes into, and how it makes things like hydraulic cylinders work, or how it goes into medical devices. How does that work? And I really wanted to understand that. So I started to learn a little bit more about the technical side of things. And I am a victim of what the stigma around the engineering industry is about. I would go to these trade shows as a salesperson, as a saleswoman, and I would stand on the stand, and then I would have male engineers who are much senior than I ever would be come up to me and say, can I speak to somebody who works for the company? Yeah, of course you can. How can I help you? And they would say, no, we want to talk to somebody who works for the company. So as soon as that happened, that was it for me. I wanted to change that stereotype completely. I wanted to get into engineering. I wanted the education behind me. I wanted to understand exactly what that senior engineer thought I didn't know, and I wanted to learn everything I possibly could. So with the help of my employer, who was then Parker, they said to me, you know, if you definitely want to do this, we'll support you through it. And as such, I got in touch with Rosa at Solihull College, who delivered the foundation degree in mechanical engineering, which was delivered by Solihull, but was supported by Oxford Brookes University. And I did that for 3 years. I did that at the age of 28. So I know we're talking a lot about younger women today, but also if you're an older woman, don't be afraid of breaking those barriers, and don't be afraid of getting involved in education at a later age. Absolutely, there is something out there for everybody. So I spent 3 years doing my foundation degree, and then I thought, well, why not top it up? You know, why not make that step even further and go into a Bachelor of Engineering? So I did that, and I completed that in January of this year. That took me 18 months, so not long at all, really. And on top of that, I am now doing the level 6 product design and development engineer route through the apprenticeship, which is supported through my company again. The really interesting thing that I find about women in engineering is we see things a lot differently to men. We're more in tune with detail. You know, we look outside of the box. So women absolutely have something to bring to the engineering table. And engineering is such a broad subject that you don't have to think, oh, well, it's all about cars or aeroplanes. You know, it's about JCBs. You'll see that down there on the right-hand side. I've designed some seals that go into those hydraulic cylinders on that JCB. So it's so broad, you could get into anything. I've heard somebody earlier talk about chemical engineering. You'll see in the middle there's a picture of some medical devices. Parker have recently been involved in the COVID-19 pandemic, and we helped make ventilators for Medtronic. We've helped make drug delivery for people like Pfizer and AstraZeneca. And then we also do lots of consumer products as well. So we're making seals for food and beverage products, coffee machines. So those little tiny bits of rubber that I work with, they're not very exciting at all. But when you put them into something like a ventilator and you see the impact that that's had on the country this year, it's just phenomenal. So open everything up, you know, think about all of the options that you've got with engineering and absolutely go for it. Speak to your teachers, speak to your careers advisors, speak to people like Rosa at Solihull College, because the support out there is amazing. And if you're currently in employment and you see something that somebody else is doing and you find that interesting, speak to them, find out what it's about, speak to your employer, because that support is absolutely out there. So go for it.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. I love that you were inspired by the fact that the men were dismissive of you and assuming that you could really work for that engineering company. Unfortunately, it's something we've probably all faced at some point in our careers, although I would say it's a lot better now than it used to be. I would also say that considering yourself old at 28, you're really not. I was disappointed earlier this week that I didn't qualify for a Young Engineers Award that I thought I had a good chance with, because you had to be under 35 to be classed as young. So maybe you should look at it, actually.
Yeah, you say that, but when I joined Solihull College, everybody in the cohort was male. I was the only female, and they were all, you know, fresh out of college, fresh out of HNCs, HNDs, and I was the only one there that hadn't been in education for more than 10 years. So that in itself was a real challenge, but I loved every minute of it.
I bet you got better grades than most of them as well.
I tried.
Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. So our next hero for me to introduce is Becky Tranter. So she is a West Midlands STEM ambassador and is doing some work with HS2 and Fusion, and is going to tell us all about that.
Hiya, thank you. Hi, I'm Becky. I'm Skills Employment Education Manager for Morgan Sindall, currently working on our Fusion joint venture as enabling works contractors for HS2. I know that's a bit of a mouthful. I've also been a STEM ambassador for 3 years and supported colleagues to become ambassadors as well. So my role is all about raising awareness of and supporting people into roles in STEM and the construction industry, and I love it. As a young person, I had no interest in construction whatsoever. Working outside all day in a hard hat and high vis, not for me. It's only since joining the industry that I've realised how much more there is to it, and I hope that my role helps to bring down those stereotypes. Being an enabling works contractor means we're preparing the way for the main works on HS2. And as such, there's a lot of environmental works happening, so surveying and building new habitats. And there's a huge amount of archaeology, so things that you wouldn't necessarily expect would be involved in an infrastructure project, as well as all of the traditional roles that you would expect. And that's before you even start to think about all of the office-based roles that are required as well. Just on our projects, we have over 30 apprentices in roles from civil engineering and quantity surveying to digital engineering, procurement, health and safety, and loads more. And they're studying at all levels as well. So we've got apprentices that are doing their level 3 and that we're supporting to help them get their maths up to the standard it needs to be, to apprentices that have gone right from level 2 and are now working up to completing their degree apprenticeship in civil engineering, for example. As part of my role as a STEM ambassador and education manager, I get to interact with children and young people. So I go into schools, or more recently, I've been doing it online, and run employability workshops. And also more industry focused sessions. An example of that is last night we ran a Women in STEM session for females aged 14 to 18, where they heard from our female sustainability advisor and one of our female civil engineers. And it's a fantastic way to engage with young people. We also run work experience programs to give young people a taste of the industry. So it's about helping them firm up career ideas that they already have, but it's also about opening their eyes to new ones that they didn't know exist. And I'm really pleased to say that on our virtual work experience programs, we have close to a 50-50 split of males and females, which is absolutely fantastic. And I just a short session. I just wanted to finish off with a quote from one of the female students on our work experience program that I think just really kind of sums up why I'm so passionate about this and why I do it. So although leaning to aeronautical engineering at the beginning, I found it immensely interesting to gain further insight into varied career routes which I had not considered. And most importantly, I have many more interests which have unravelled through this placement, which I deem to learn more about. Thank you.
Thanks, Becky. I think it's really interesting. You said that you were really put off by the hard hat and high vis image of engineers at the beginning, and I think that puts a lot of women off. To be honest, it's not the most attractive outfits to wear, but actually, as an engineer, you don't wear it that often in a lot of roles. There are some roles where it is your daily outfit, but it's certainly not mine.
Yeah, exactly. But that's exactly what springs to young people's mind when you say construction.
My site gear spends most of its time sat in the boot of my car gathering dust rather than being worn, if I'm completely honest. So far, we've mostly heard from women that are actually engineers. Our next few heroes aren't actually engineers themselves, but they have really important roles to play within the engineering sector. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do our jobs. So the next hero that I'd like to introduce is Jade Mills. She's one of our early careers recruiters at Arup, and she's going to tell us a bit about different routes to apprenticeships and graduate roles at Arup.
Hi everybody, let me just share my screen there. There we go. So, as Sally said, I am one of the recruiters here at Arup. I sit within the early careers team, mostly looking after roles within consulting. And I'm just going to talk you through sort of the application and interview process. This is sort of kind of specific to Arup, but you know the processes don't tend to vary too much. So first off, what does an application process look like? So usually when you first apply for a role, you'll have an online application form, and this is where you'll input all of your details. So everything that would be on your CV, and it might also have some application questions as well. The next stage of a process is usually some kind of online test. So we use a situational judgment questionnaire. I'll explain a little bit more about those in a moment. And then the next stage following that is usually a telephone or video interview and or an assessment centre. So first off, just some top tips for a successful job application. It's really important that you include all relevant skills and experience. The application forms do take time, and they're supposed to take time. So it's not going to be sort of a quick 20-minute job. It's likely to take sort of an hour or two to make sure you're filling it out completely. Really try to avoid common mistakes, so try not to copy and paste from another application form. Answer all the questions that's being asked and try not to ramble or go off topic. It's really important that you sell all of your achievements, so even sort of extracurricular activities or any volunteering work that you've done. It's really important that you show us these and also show your personality. It's great if you can and you have someone there to double check your application. So most of the online forms you can sort of log in and out of. So it's great if you've got sort of a parent or guardian or a friend or, you know, somebody that can just double check your application for those silly mistakes that you might not spot yourself. Read the questions as well and use the space provided for your response. So if the response has 250 characters or 500 characters, that's around the length of the response that we're expecting. So just make sure you're using that space. And also, as I said, take your time. They're not supposed to sort of be quick activities. They will take an hour or two. So moving on to online tests. So lots of companies use online tests. It's a really fair way of comparing different candidates' strengths, regardless of their educational background. At Arup, we're assessing your ability and sort of your suitability to work in the workplace. So just some top tips here are to really read the instructions and understand if you can take a practice test first or if your first go is the real one. Lots of these tests you can Google and there'll be lots of practice tests online, and if you're unsure, contact the recruitment team at the company you're applying for. And also if you encounter any issues, contact the recruitment team as well. Next, moving on to sort of interview format. So usually this will consist of an introduction between sort of you and the hiring managers or the recruitment team that you're having your interview with. You'll then move on to interview questions, and then usually there's a short Q&A at the end. A really common sort of interview structure is to use competency-based questions. So these, again, you can Google them. There's lots and lots of examples online, but for instance, there's sort of give me an example of a time when you had to, or describe an occasion, or tell us about a time when. So that's usually how competency-based questions will begin. And a really great way to answer those is by using what we call the STAR technique. So it's where you're describing the situation, and then you're describing the task that the situation required, and then the actions you took and the results. And you can also include sort of anything that you would have done better next time if you had another opportunity. So as I said, there's lots and lots of examples online. And then just moving on to sort of assessment centres as well. So some hints and tips if you are invited to an assessment centre, whether that be virtual or face-to-face. Now we're coming out of the pandemic. So really before you attend, familiarise yourself with your schedule. Make sure you know the dress code. This should be quite clear, but that's always a good question to ask. And if it's virtual, dress as though you're attending a face-to-face assessment centre. Again, if it is virtual, make sure you pick a quiet place away from any distractions and try to keep your background plain, or you can use the blur background feature if you wish. Always keep calm and take your time, and don't be afraid to ask for clarifications. At lots of assessment centres, there's people like myself there who are just facilitating, and it's our role to make sure you have everything you need and you understand everything that's going on. And just some key components of an assessment centre. So they're likely to include sort of an introduction, a chat through some HR elements. You might have a group exercise where we're sort of assessing your ability to work within a team. There might be a short meet and greet with current graduates or current apprentices, which is a great time to ask any questions you have about the roles or what it's really like day to day working for that company. You might have an interview with members of the actual team, and also technical exercises. So these are exercises that either you do in advance or you do on the day in sort of an individual basis. Okay, so that's a run through, but just lastly, just make sure you're always asking the recruitment team if you have any questions. It's our job to support our candidates through the process, and that's what we're here for. So if you ever have any questions when you're filling in a job application, please do reach out to the recruitment team. Thank you.
Thanks, Jade. There's some really great tips that you've shared there. I think for me as a hiring manager, that the copy and paste one's probably the most frustrating.
Happens a lot.
When, you know, you're recruiting for a job for a graduate fire engineer and you have a sentence of, I'm really keen to be a structural engineer. It's an easy way to filter through the candidates. And I think it's useful for you the information you shared about the assessment centres, because they sound like a really scary thing, but they're really not when you break it down into the different parts of the day that takes place. So hopefully that's put a few people's minds at rest and they don't get deterred when they get invited for those assessment centres.
They're not as scary as they seem.
No, we're a friendly bunch. So thank you, Jade. Our next engineering hero is Sandy Farah. So Sandy is our business service manager at our Midlands campus office for Arup. And basically she keeps everything running to enable all of us engineers to do our job. So she's going to tell us a bit about what she does. Sandy.
Hi there, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I think quite controversial, because I'm going to open with not all women in Arup are engineers. A little bit about myself. I don't come from an engineering background. I left school at 16. I worked as a bank clerk. I worked my way up. I moved into client management, relationship management, which led into team leadership. And then I ended up working for local governments as a part of their operational transformation team. And eventually, and I'm not sure how now, I turned up and I became the business services manager in Arup, and I've been there 3 years. So a little bit about business services. What do we do and what sits within business services? Many components. So it's running the operation and managing the facilities. So all engineers need a resourceful site with all the facilities that are available at all times, and that includes the office environment, desk space, collaboration spaces, meeting rooms, the equipment, and more importantly, catering, and a clean environment. So that all sits within business services. Next is information. So we have a department which is our library services and archives, and that's being able to draw on any information from the past or find any literature that our engineers need for any projects that they're working on. Also health and safety. So one of the most important things is the office needs to be a safe environment to work in for our engineers, and our engineers need the correct PPE to go out on sites. So that sits with us. Front of house. So people forget front of house, but all our staff and engineers, contractors and clients need to be welcomed and catered for at all times. And front of house is the most important thing you'll see first when you walk into an Arup site. And then marketing and business development. So all engineers and our teams need good marketing and business development coordinators to help them engage with clients. That might be existing clients and new clients. They work to produce marketing collateral, work on testimonial case studies, what we've produced elsewhere. They also help coordinate client events to network and showcase our work. And then, very important, provide support on bids for new work. And then budget and finance management, all of this again sits within business services. So, we've got to make sure that we ensure that a building and the office is run within a tight budget, which overall affects the profits of our business in Arup. And I think last but not least, one of the most important parts and components of business services is the support staff. So every group within Arup, whether that be building, consulting or infrastructure, have a number of assistants and coordinators to support the leaders, the project managers, the teams of engineers, designers and architects. And that is to help them with their document management, their admin, project coordination, planning and diaring management, engaging with clients and arranging team meetings, basically everything that allows those people to go and do what they do best, which is their technical expertise. So I'll finish with a quite brief presentation for myself, but I'll finish with, we all know within engineering that support is the foundation of any structure. What I'd like to say in business services is we are the people that hold it all together, and it feels great to be part of something that is so exciting and shapes the future for our generation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy. I must admit, I didn't quite realise quite how wide your remit was, but we certainly know when your team's not there doing the stuff that enables us to focus on delivering our projects, which is ultimately what we as engineers want to do, and not worry about the other stuff. So, but I think thank you for joining today and kind of highlighting all of the different opportunities there are to be working within the engineering sector and having that valuable contribution to the construction industry in a very different way.
You're welcome.
So our next engineering hero is Rose Rees. She's the head of engagement and skills at Midlands Metro Alliance. Gosh, that's a mouthful. And she's going to talk a bit about their West Midlands offer today. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Sally. Thank you very much. It is a bit, isn't it? It's easy to say MMA. Thanks very much for inviting me today. I'm absolutely blown away by the amazing women that have spoken today. It's just so heartwarming to hear everybody's stories. Not just sort of the guys who've actually progressed in their careers, but the young people who are coming into our sector. That to me is absolutely inspiring. So I'm just going to whiz through a very quick presentation to give you a little bit of an overview about who we are and what we're trying to do. One of the things that I feel is really, really important, we're spending government money building the tram extensions across the West Midlands. And I think it's really important that we give back to the communities where we're working. So one of the things that we do is engage a lot with schools, youth organisations to talk about the opportunities within the rail sector, particularly light rail, because we're a mix of construction and also rail as well. So let me just see if I can change my slides. I had a bit of a difficulty doing this the other day for some reason. So we launched in 2016, made up of 9 international partners. So we work quite differently as an alliance. The blue line that you can see on the map is line 1, which was already there when we started. And we're working currently on the dark pink lines, Wolverhampton, Wensby to Briley Hill, Birmingham West Side, which is down Broad Street, for anybody who knows Birmingham well, and East Side, which is going down to Digbeth. The pale grey is East Birmingham to Solihull, which is the line that we would love to do at some stage. So we're very much about construction. We're very much about my teamwork within the areas where we're constructing the tram extensions, and we work with the stakeholders to try and minimise disruption to them as much as we can, but also within the communities to try and help the communities as well. The reason that we get heavily involved and we're committed to this work is there is, as has been said, I think by several people already, a huge skill shortage within the sector. We know we've got a lot of people retiring. I can say they're old because I am, but we've got a lot of people that are over 50 and in their 60s. So the sort of 25,000 we need to replace over this period of time, and we're losing their knowledge and their skills. So we need to bring young people in and people into the sector to learn from those people. We don't reflect at the moment the diversity in the communities where we work, regardless of ethnicity or gender. You know, there's a lot of boardrooms with white middle-aged men sitting around at the table, and we need to change that. We need new talent, and young people are our future talent bank. So we want to attract them. We have apprenticeships, we have graduates that come in, and different career opportunities. One of the things that we found very evident, and my particular baby when we started this alliance, was we didn't have an entry-level qualification, an apprenticeship, and I'm a real advocate of apprenticeships, that we didn't have one that was specific to light rail, so we designed our own. No prior academic qualifications required. We're offender friendly as a sector, so whatever young people have done previously doesn't matter, fresh start. This is the first step on their career ladder. We've just completed one cohort. They finished in April. They still worked throughout the pandemic last year, as did all the guys on site. And we've got a second cohort starting in September at Dudley College. So we go out and about. We spend a lot of time, or I spend a lot of time in prison, which sounds great. I go out to prisons, youth offenders. We work with organisations locally like Black Country Talent Match that work with young ex-offenders and offer a wraparound mentoring service to them. We go out to schools, mock interviews, assemblies, all the time promoting the sort of the opportunities that there are within the rail and construction sectors, within engineering. Work with women in rail, women into construction. We've worked very closely with business in the community, where we've held community conversations, linking up businesses with charities and community organisations, and work closely as well with the job centre. You know, it's about giving people that opportunity to come into our sector. So we've delivered a lot of sector-based work academy programmes with various colleges across the region. We've been out and taken roadshows out, and I've sort of dragged other employers to come out with us to talk to young people about opportunities and a lot of career events. Work closely with ex-forces. There's a lot of opportunities and transferable skills that people have, and we also host a lot of work experience wherever we can. We've got 4 students coming for the next 2 years from the new T-level programmes as well. So overall, we've got about 100 temp operatives. It's a temporary business. Once we've built a project, we move on to the next, and that's what happens in a lot of construction and rail projects. But a lot of those guys will move with us, and they'll move on to the next projects with us. So we've employed 26 local people who weren't in employment, education and training from the sector-based work academies, and we've got about, as I say, about 100 temp operatives on site with us at the moment. One of the things that we designed last year, we obviously couldn't go out last year as much as we used to do. So my colleague Julie Thompson, who is my skills advisor, thought, what about interviewing colleagues within the business and getting them to talk about their careers, how, you know, what school, sort of what the schooling was like, what route did they choose, did they go to uni, did they go straight to work, did they take an apprenticeship, and find out a little bit about them and how they got into their role. And it's been quite interesting to see that some of them, Grace, for example, that you see on the bottom left there, actually did chemical engineering, and she's now one of our sort of well, quite senior delivery managers within the business. So it's great to see where people have come from, and perhaps hopefully give some inspiration to others to look at it, and to see sort of how they can how they too can look at these roles, see what the content of the roles are, and then sort of move forward. What I would say is, if anybody works with young people who are interested in finding out more about rail and construction, then please by all means get in touch with me, and more than happy to talk to anybody about opportunities within the sector. I thought Jay's presentation about the assessment days was absolutely spot on. I try and do a lot of that with young people, and sort of show them, we do a lot of classroom work with them to sort of say, look, let's set up a mock assessment centre and help you get through it. It's about confidence at the end of the day, and if somebody's seen something already that they know they can do, then they've got more chance of getting getting through and sort of, you know, proving themselves at the assessment day. So that's us. More than happy for anybody to get in touch with us, and more than happy to help support anyone who is interested in careers in the rail and construction sector. And thank you very much for a very inspirational session today.
Thanks, Rose. I think it's amazing how much your organisation and you personally have been doing to encourage young people, but in particular women, to come and work in rail engineering. It's absolutely fantastic, and having that really positive outlook of it's the first step on your career. We don't care what you've done in the past. Yeah, no judgment. We'll welcome you, I think, is fantastic. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Ella.
So now it's time for me to introduce our final engineering hero of today. So we have Rachel Evans. She's an employment engagement manager at the National Careers Service, and she's going to tell us a bit about careers, advice and guidance available.
Okie doke. Thank you, Sally. Appreciate that. And welcome. You know, lovely to see everybody here today. Really glad to be part of the event today. I don't feel necessarily like an engineering hero, if I'm honest, but I certainly have been involved in engineering for many, many years and sort of 20 plus years in recruitment, a lot of that around the engineering sector. And so there's a lot of synergies with what we've heard today as well. So it's really, really great to actually be part of this event today. And what I'm going to do is I'll just share my screen actually, first of all. Just hold on one moment. Just bear with me. Can you see that okay? Can everyone see that?
Yes, we can.
Fab. Thanks ever so much, Sally. Okay, so yes, my role is Employer Engagement Manager for the National Careers Service. And why I'm so pleased to be part of the event today is because we actually, I feel like we're the wraparound and the sort of like the hug that sits around everybody else that we've spoken to and heard from today. Because as the National Careers Service, it's very much around supporting individuals into sustainable employment, you know, and within the engineering sector, that's really important. But it's also about myth busting and helping people understand what they're good at, what's the best things that they can get involved in, what suits them. So it's really a personalised careers advice and guidance, and it's available to everybody across the West Midlands and Staffordshire. So a brief introduction to the National Careers Service, if it's something you're not necessarily familiar with. It's free. So it's free, professional and personalised advice on getting a new job, changing careers, training, education and the labour market. So all of those things impact you in your journey as to what you want to do. It may be that you've been affected through COVID from an employment perspective, and it's we can help you understand what opportunities are available and how you can perhaps do some transferable skills, develop your transferable skills and move into a different role. But it's understanding the impact on the labour market around you, where those opportunities are, but really understanding what you're great at as well and what you're interested in is and helping you to understand that, and so we can then provide some guidance as to what your routes may be. So the National Career Service is available to anyone actually over the age of 13 living in England. From the ages of 13 to 18 in education, you can support the National Career Service via, or you can get support from the National Career Service, I should say, via the telephone, by web chats and by our website, as well as through social media. So if you're at school and currently looking at your options, you've heard about the different apprenticeship routes and education routes you can get into engineering, and you've perhaps had some steer from your careers advisors at school. Then if you want more support, then we can help you with that. You may already have some ideas, but you're needing to find a little bit more information. So give us a call and we can help you through that. If you are a young person 18 plus not in education, employment or training, and indeed anyone over the age of 19, you can also access the National Careers Service with additional one-to-one support. This is in the form currently virtually, but it will soon be face-to-face again. These are individual one-to-one information, advice and guidance sessions. They're about an hour and 10 minutes long, and it's all about you. So it's about how we can support you to understand, what's best for you and for you to make the decisions that suit you. So what I'm going to do is just show you a video rather than me just talking you through it about what that actually all means. And then we can take it from there and I'll explain a little bit more.
The National Careers Service provides high-quality, free and impartial information, advice and guidance to help citizens make decisions on learning, training and work. It is available to all adults in England over the age of 13. Our universal service is primarily for citizens who need somewhere to go that can provide comprehensive careers information, advice or guidance for themselves. Additional users of our service are people who use it to support others. This includes professional careers advisors and intermediaries, such as employers, teachers, and parents. Our service is designed to enable users to self-serve as much as possible. However, some of our users need more intensive support. For self-servers, our intuitive digital tools and smart use of data enable them to get a personalized service. Professional careers advisors will help provide users with additional advice and guidance specific to their personal circumstances. If you want any more information about the National Careers Service, please get in touch.
Okay. Right, so what does that actually mean when we're talking about our qualified careers advisors and they can help you with information, advice and guidance? What does that look like? So it's all about exploring different career options, reviewing your strengths, your skills and helping you to develop your career goals, making the best use of high quality career related tools and understanding the local job market. When it comes to applying for roles, you've heard from Jay today from Arup Recruitment, finding out about opportunities at organisations like Arup, but a lot of other engineering organisations as well. It's all about looking in the local job market, have a look at the job boards that are advertising roles, whether that's Indeed, whether it's CV Library, whether it's Total Jobs. Obviously look at the company websites themselves and see the opportunities. And actually, don't be afraid to ask questions about what it might mean. It doesn't mean to say you necessarily have to accept a role, but it would be a shame that you actually didn't even consider an opportunity just because you didn't really understand what might have been written in the job description. So if you're not sure, ask, inquire, find out if it's things that you think, tick your boxes that you'd like to find out more about, because it's really important to understand what is out there and what suits you and to understand the local job market, but what those careers do look like. So the National Careers Service can help you to understand that. We have qualified advisors and we have an employer engagement team who engage with employers and training providers across the region, and my team very much get to the nitty-gritty of job opportunities and actually what's involved, so we too can help you understand those opportunities. We help you with accessing learning, training and apprenticeship and employment opportunities, and we also help you with those applications. Companies like Arup are making it, quite easy for you. As Jada said, it sounds like might be a bit nerve-wracking process to go through for a selection process or applying for roles. But actually, when it's broken down, it isn't difficult and you can do it. But if you're a bit nervous about that, then we can help you with that. We can help you walk you through those different steps and make the best of your individual application. We can help you develop your CV, and your cover letter. And as we were advised previously when Sally was saying earlier about it's important when you're applying for roles to make sure that they're specific. If it's a water engineer role and your copy and paste says structured engineering, then yes, you're probably not going to be shortlisted for that opportunity. So think about it, and we can help you focus on those types of details to make sure it's personal for you, but personal for the particular roles that you're applying for as well. We can help you with your interview skills and job searching techniques, so to help you get the best out of using job boards, how to make it easy for yourself from a self-serve perspective so you get notified about jobs that are suitable for you. And when it comes to interview skills, again, I reflect back on what Jade was saying from Arup about the STAR technique. And that's what they're using for their interview processes through their competency-based interviews. A lot of organisations do competency-based interviews. And when it comes to the STAR technique, remember to focus on the I, not the we. And what I mean by that is that obviously teamwork and collaboration is absolutely vital in all roles, very, very much so. So that's very important to remember. But companies are keen to understand about you and your individual contribution. So make sure that you take a moment to think about your specific role and your specific achievements rather than what you as a team have done. If you're being asked about you're applying for a role and a company is considering you for that particular opportunity, they want to know about you and what you've done personally. So it's very easy to fall into the we did this, we did that trap. But just take a moment. Take a moment to take a deep breath and think about what your personal contribution was to a particular task, and then highlight that in particular when you're in your interview, because that's what makes the difference. So, we can help you with understanding what companies are looking for and the hints and tips like that you need to consider. And we can help you with planning and implementing your next steps on your career journey, where we can help you with collaborating with organisations around the West Midlands and Staffordshire. We can help you with your training and upskilling into roles, but even just looking at your next job opportunity. Lots and lots of different avenues that the National Career Service can help you and support you. So how do you contact us? Well, different routes. So you can call us, speak to an advisor on our helpline, which is 0800 100 900. Our lines are open from 8 till 8 Monday to Friday and 10 till 5 on a Saturday, and calls are free from landlines and most mobile numbers. You can get online support by visiting our website, nationalcareers.service.gov.uk, to access our online resources and digital tools like you saw in the video that I showed you, or to contact an advisor via web chat or email. And we're also on social media, so please do follow National Career Service West Midlands on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can search for @Careers West Mids and find out more about what we're doing, about the events that we host as an organisation and the employer engagement team. We host a number of events for lots of different sectors, and it's important to find out about different opportunities. So we have a lot of companies that also embrace and participate in those events. So what we do very much complements the organisations that you've heard from today and the opportunities that are there. It's all around that support framework to help you develop into a role in engineering, and we'd love to hear from you. So please do get in touch. Stop sharing my screen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rachel. There's some fantastic advice that you provided there. I'd also echo the talk about I rather than we. It is an easy trap to fall into. Just one thing, you talked about being a national careers service, and then about it being West Midlands. So people can get advice specifically about West Midlands opportunities and things from your service.
Yeah, very much so. The National Career Service is available across the whole of England, and there are different groups. We actually have London and we have West Midlands and Staffordshire. So my team and the National Career Service we're talking about here is West Midlands and Staffordshire. So literally it's the whole of the West Midlands, including Staffordshire. And it's all about opportunities for jobs, for training that encompasses the entire region of that, the West Midlands and Staffordshire region. So yes, it's we have careers advisors across the whole in all the different areas of that region. So they're specialists in their particular area. And in my team, the employer engagement team, we actually have individual employer engagement coordinators that go out and broker opportunities with companies in their specific area and training providers. So again, it's really understanding what companies are really looking for and sharing that with customers who are registered with the National Career Service to give them access to opportunities, and it's all free. It's crazy not to make the most of it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that very tailored local knowledge is so valuable, and people really should come and talk to you and see what they can help you with. So thank you for sharing all that information today.
Thank you.
Rachel.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, Sally.
That's okay. So we've now heard from all of our engineering heroes, and we've had a fantastic set of presentations today. I'm sure you'll agree with me that it's been brilliant hearing about all the different roles that people are doing, all the different routes that are available into engineering, hearing about some of the non-engineer roles available within the sector. And I think it's particularly fantastic to have heard from some of our graduates and apprentices who are at the start of their career journeys, talking about the wonderful experiences they've already had working in engineering and manufacturing, and how passionate they all are about the careers that they're embarking on. And for those graduates and apprentices that have spoken today, I particularly want to thank them. I know when you're a little bit younger and a little bit less experienced, public speaking can be quite nerve-wracking. So well done for doing that. You are all going to be inspiring women of the future. I'm sure you've inspired the audience today. So hopefully by listening to some of the presentations today, you'll be inspired to come and work in engineering, construction or manufacturing, so that together we can change those statistics that I shared at the beginning for the better. 12% really isn't enough, and there's no reason why we can't improve that. I'd like to thank all of our engineering heroes for giving up their time today to share their experiences with us. I'd also like to thank my colleague Hannah Smith and Jackie, Olivia and Tony at West Midlands Combined Authority, who've done all the work in the background pulling together this fantastic schedule and coordinating with all of our speakers today. It is International Women in Engineering Day. There's loads of events going on online and around the region. So I'd encourage you to look out for other events that you can join today and join in celebrating our engineering heroes. Thank you.